Hey, what is up, everybody? This is our
Welcome.
very first ever live. So, this is all new to us. We've always done pre record and production style with our Talk Mix show, but we are so excited because
I'm
we
so
have an
excited.
amazing guest. Amazing guest. So, I am Kai. I
And
am
I'm
one of the hosts for Talk Mix.
and I'm Tina, and I am the best friend and other host for Talk Mix.
Definitely the best friend. But our channel is Talk Mix on YouTube, and we do have a Talk Mix fan page, but it's not as active because we've mostly been on Instagram and YouTube. So we have a lot of views on YouTube. So check us out on YouTube. Today we're doing Facebook Live because we had some technical difficulties, but we're excited to be here anyways. So our first guest and first live ever show, and I'm so excited for this because I met her and she's the most warm. Um, I don't know. She embraced me as soon as she met me.
Hmm.
And then she found out later that I was the one that helped get her to Comic Con and, well, in Salt Lake City. And so she embraced me first. And then she was like, oh, thank you for doing that. So it was very warm and embracing. But make sure to come back and we'll tell you who the guest is.
Welcome
All right,
back.
guys, welcome back. So, our first guest is a sweet friend of mine. We became, our energies connected fast. The first thing she ever said to me was thank you. And then I had really big energy. And I love that because I do. I really do have big energy with the right people. But
It's
but you
true.
guys all
Very
know this.
true.
So and Hudson probably knows this too because she knows I'm a Libra. So she's like, yeah, that's true. But she is an American actress. She is very well known for her role as the amazing villainess Callisto, in the series Xena Warrior Princess. She was, but I also knew her from Melrose Place, and she's a certified yoga instructor. She's an intuitive counselor at her Healing Heart Yoga set. Like, she is just so phenomenal. She's an astral reader. So excited to have her on. Everyone, please welcome Hudson Leick.
Yay!
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, we're so excited. We are so excited to have you on. How are you, Hudson?
I'm excellent. Really good. Happy to see you both. Really happy to see you both.
That is so great to hear. So I don't know if you remember the first time we met. It was, for me, it was at the Salt Lake Comic Con. I met you in person. I remember everything you said to me. You loved my energy. It was very big and welcoming and warm, and I felt the same with you. But I remember a lot the Sunday brunch when you came up to me and you hugged me. I don't know if you remember that. You came up and you kind of gave me a hug. Do you remember that? I know you see everybody, but do you remember that?
What I remember about you at that convention is that you had such pure energy and so much kindness, and it was unusual for most human beings to be like that. And I remember being a bit shocked by it, especially at a convention, because conventions can be very chaotic. Or you get a bunch of actors together, and it can be amazing. And I know people really enjoy them. And to be an actor, you have to have an ego, anyways. But sometimes there can be a lot of ego, and there's a lot of stuff happening. You get a bunch of people together, and there's a lot of stuff happening. So meeting you was amazing. It was really, at first it didn't seem real to me how you were. And very quickly, within seconds, I realized that this person is really genuinely this good and pure. That was my experience of you. I don't remember hugging you. I'm sure I hugged you plenty because I was like, whatever that being is, I'm into it.
You actually did hug me. I think you hugged me like actual 4 to 5 times at the actual convention. And then I know the brunch, if I remember correctly, I remember introducing you to Giancarlo, was that who I introduced you to? And you were like kind of nervous about meeting him?
Oh my God. Okay, because it's hard for me to like because we have a bit of delay, so people know, and I'm very quick in responding, so I have to pull myself back and responding to both of them, the interviewers right now, for Tina and Kai. So yes, I remember very, very rarely do I get starstruck, like very rarely. It does happen, definitely with holy people more than human, like regular actors. But there's one actor that I can't even remember how to pronounce his name. And we were in the green room and he was in, what is that TV show called?
Oh, he was in so many.
No, but the one,
He was in,
that guy.
yes. Oh my gosh. I can't remember, but we'll look it up. If anyone watching can remember what he was in,
Oh God,
let us know.
It was the one where they make drugs in, what is it? Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, that's right.
He was the main guy in Breaking Bad, and we were in the green room together, and I was having a fangirl meltdown, like pure. I was sitting on the couch, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I was bananas. And my friend was like, and Kai was like, you want me to introduce you? Renee saw, I was like, oh my God, that's one of the best actors I've ever seen in my entire life. And his energy was so incredible. And Renee was like, oh, well, you want to meet him? And I'm like, no, please don't embarrass me. Like, because you just can't hold in your fangirlness and look like a normal human being. And it was way too embarrassing. And so then she told Kai, or I told Kai, and Kai immediately introduced me. And he came over and he sat down next to me and started talking about looking for a new babysitter and just normal everyday things. And I literally was just like, and my heart he was amazing. Like, and thank you. I like not thank you, because that's definitely what I didn't want in that moment. But at the same time, thank you so much, because I got the opportunity to feel like a moron and to really, really enjoy another human being who I feel like is just a tremendous artist, like just amazing artist.
Right.
Do you remember that?
So that's why I remember. I do, because I vaguely remember you coming up to me the Sunday brunch, and you like hugged me from the back, and you like gave me a kiss on my cheek, and you said, "I'm sorry for like something that happened in the green room." And I don't remember what it was. I don't know if you remember. I was like, I don't remember. Like, and if it was to like put you on the spot with Giancarlo, I didn't mean that. I just knew you loved him, and I love your energy. I was like, everyone needs to feel this. Everyone needs to feel of Hudson. That's just how I felt. So I was like, I'm gonna go, because this is lucky for him. This is lucky for Giancarlo to be able to talk to Hudson. So I'm gonna do this. That was basically how it came off. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do for her, because she's my girl. She's my girl. So I do remember it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I probably wasn't very grateful in the moment, which is probably why I apologized, because it probably was like, no.
Well, see, and I don't remember that either.
Yeah.
That's why I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll take her hug. I'll take her little kiss. And then you're like, oh, I just wanted to apologize for yesterday. I was like, what happened yesterday? So I was like, you have been amazing the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So, but, well, so we also wanted to know, when you were younger, what was your ultimate dream career choice when you were a kid?
When I was probably 5 years old, I used to wear red stockings and like jean shorts. And I was like, I look super cool. Like, I just thought I was so cool in that outfit. And that's when the Sonny and Cher show was out. I don't know if it was ongoing or if it was recorded. I think it was ongoing at that time, because I'm going to be 52 this year. And so I wanted to be Cher. Like, definitely, I wanted to be Cher. That was my dream job.
Wow. To be
Wow.
shared. What do you think about that, Tina?
That it kind of reminds me of like she's like emulating Pippi Longstocking, you know, with the red shorts, red, and the that's fantastic. So, how did that dream of yours spur you into joining the television industry?
Well, I couldn't sing, so that wasn't going to happen. And it didn't occur to me to act because Cher, the reason I think I was so enamored with her, especially back then, is that she was like the most glamorous thing I had ever seen. And that looked super fun. My ideas as I was growing up changed. Like for a while, I wanted to discover another King Tut, like being someone who would dig up old, amazing pyramids or mysteries was fascinating to me. But how it translated within time was I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and all the choices of grown-ups around me seemed really dull. Like I couldn't, being a grown-up and having a normal job, my brain could not wrap its head around, like, and those seemed like the only choices. So as I got older, I fell into modeling, and through modeling, somewhat in high school, I discovered the stage, and being on stage at that time was thrilling. And that's probably where I got the taste of it. And after I modeled for a short period in some countries, I quit, and I dedicated my life at that time when I was really young to acting. That's how it started in that direction.
Wow. That is so it's such a vast time of experience, and it kind of led you towards, the film industry. And so when you were a model, did you enjoy the instant gratification of being noticed and acknowledged for your talents and your, and all of that kind of stuff? Because I know that seems so important at that age. You know what I mean? Like when you're at that young age, you want that need to be, oh, look at me, like this is what I can offer the world. This is what I can offer the world. So knowing that, were you kind of hoping for that continuation when you went into the TV film industry? And what were some of your memorable gigs from the industry from that?
Oh God, there's so many questions in there, Kai. There's so many questions to answer.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. The modeling, I had such low self-esteem and an amazing amount of arrogance at the same time. And you can have both at the same time. And not a really strong identity of who I was. And so the idea in high school was a really challenging time for me. So, and I was pretty, there was times I was actually really suicidal. Like I had a really hard time in my younger years getting through life. So becoming a model gave me some kind of identity, and it gave me sort of this grandiose feeling of like importance and hanging on to something that was important. So if I could be pretty and paid for it, that wasn't something other kids could do. And so it made me feel special. It made me feel worthy of existing. And then being able to go to different countries. One, I couldn't wait to get to different countries. Like I was really excited when I was 18, as soon as I graduated, I got to go to Japan to model. And when I got there, I realized very quickly, go ahead.
That's amazing. I was just, as soon as you were done with high school, you went to Japan. That's not normal.
Yeah, it's not normal. And the thing is also, when I was there, I realized very quickly that I was not so pretty. And it wasn't that models that were there were just gorgeous, like really, like you learn very, very quickly the idea of modeling and how you take pictures and what it looks like, and that I was actually quite plain. The reason I did really well is because I was skinny, and back then there wasn't boob jobs. There wasn't as many boob jobs, and I had boobs. and a thin frame. And so I did a lot of underwear modeling, and I did a lot of lingerie and swimsuits, and they pay you double. And so, so I worked a lot and I got paid well, but it wasn't about how beautiful my face was. And then when I was in Paris modeling, I got mixed messages. Some people would say, and it's like just like acting in a way, like anything in a way, because people are fickle and they all have their own opinions. So I would go to some place and they'd be like, she's really beautiful and we want her to be in Vogue, British Vogue. And then some people would be like, she's so ugly. She's just really ugly. And why are you bringing us ugly girls? And so, you know, your little 19-year-old brain is like, well, what am I? If I'm going to be judged by the way I look, and it's never going to be consistent, which is absolutely true for everything, not just the way we look. It's really confusing, and you can't hang your hat on that. You just can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's incredible though, that you have so it's incredible because how many years have you done modeling? Has it been more than like 5 years, or because you kind of jumped straight into the TV industry, right?
Yeah, no, I only modeled probably from 16 to 19, 3 years.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. But that's amazing that you learned so much in that short span of time. You know what I mean? Life really is the best educational tool, I gotta say. Like, you learn more from life. So that is awesome. So as you know, many of the people who follow you and adore you, it's either from you playing in Xena or your yoga, because you have a huge yoga following. You have a huge yoga retreat that you do in Prague, like, and your Xena. Like, out of the two, do you love that those two platforms you're able to reach and change lives? Like, have those two things allowed you to do that a lot better?
I'm so naughty. I want to be like, no, so naughty. Um, but we have that layover. So it's not, our repartee can't be as quick and fast with each other. So I have to be patient. It's probably very good.
Right.
Yeah, let's talk about Xena for a moment, because I haven't talked about it in a really long time. I know that I really, you know, it's not something I typically want to live in. Even when I wrote the thing and people start responding and getting excited, I personally don't get excited about talking about it. In fact, sometimes it brings me down just a little bit. And there's plenty of reasons for that, and I will discuss them with you. But I think it's important that I talk about it a bit too, because I do have compassion for the fact that, and I do have understanding and humility for the fact that I am known. I'm known mostly for most human beings for being on a team where I had an amazing amount of fun doing.
What I was asking before was, when you were on the Xena and Hercules sets, were there some experience you had relating with other actors, cast members, or even producers that was such a positive experience? I know some parts of it were positive and negative, but resonated with you 20 years later, that you use in your personal life and practice.
It's a great question. Yes, absolutely. I have a lot of positive things. I'm going to answer that in a couple different ways. First of all, I feel like that show particularly, it gave so much positive subconscious, even though it was very comic booky, it was so subconsciously, beautifully, deeply spiritual to me, written and produced on how to deal with being a human being, and how to deal with our negatives and what happens when we act out of them. Like the character Callisto is a perfect example of what happens when we fall into victimhood and we don't get out of it. And when we stay in victimhood and we stay in resentment, how we can actually become the perpetrator ourselves. Like that is, if you watch human beings, that's what happens to us when we don't heal ourselves. And that sounds too, when we don't try to find ways to integrate possibly some abuses that have happened to us. It's really important that we take responsibility for ourselves. It may not be our fault what's happened to us, but it becomes our responsibility. So that's one aspect. So I think that show is an amazing platform for that. And then the other thing is, yes, there's so much I've gotten from that show. I mean, I really feel like that show saved my life in a huge way. And it's almost too personal even to get into how much that show saved my life. It really did save my life. And one of the things that I take with me is it's not my closest relationships, not with the cast or the producers. Although typically actors usually are closer to the cast and the producers. There's sort of like a hierarchy in the directors where the other actors sit all together with that group. And that wasn't my experience, probably because I was going through such a hard time myself, and I spent a lot of time alone in my trailer. But I did make an amazing amount of friends there that I have today. Two of them are no longer here. They're no longer alive. And the other two still live in New Zealand, and I got to see them for my 50th birthday party. They actually flew to Wales. Yeah, they flew to Wales. I had a bunch of people come from all over. They flew to Wales. And they were amazing because all four of these people affected my life, because during that time I was in so much pain. And there's times when I don't watch Xena anymore, and I have never seen the whole show, but there's segments that I've seen, especially when I've been in conventions, where I know where I was emotionally, personally, when the scene is happening. So there's one scene where I'm climbing out of Tartarus? No, someplace where I'm trapped in Hercules land. And I want to call her Renee, but it's not Renee. Gabrielle pulls me out thinking that I'm Xena. Clearly I'm not Xena. It's got Callisto's armband on. She pulls me out and I'm really happy. And in that moment, I remember that when she pulled me out, the sunshine was out, and my partner, who I was so in love with, was with me in New Zealand at that time. And he was watching from offset, and he was there. And when she pulled me out, I had so much joy bubbling up from me that I felt so blessed to be alive in that moment. So when I see that, that's what it reminds me of. And I have the opposite, where when I was trapped in that chair that I had made for Xena to torture her, I was barely breathing. Like, I had ideas. I was still creative. I was like, I want to be barefoot. I want more blood. I always wanted more blood. Like, more blood. They were like, that's enough blood. But they let me be barefoot. There was something so sensitive about being barefoot while you're about to kill a bunch of people. And because there's still an element of humanity left in that being. And I liked that idea and that kind of vulnerability. And dealing with that rage at the same time. So when I have watched it, I can tell where I was at. The people that affected me were the woman who dressed me. Her name was Rochelle, and she's no longer with us. And she would take me to her house. This is so precious. She would take me to her house, sit me down, and make me a cup of tea. And when she would dress me, when you're in the States and you're an actor, they coddle you. They really coddle you. In New Zealand, you don't get that. They don't coddle you. She would throw my armband at me politely, like happily, and go, do yourself up. I'll come back later when I have my tea. And she was like staunch, and she knew I was going through. She was the only person I talked to about what I was going through. So she would take me to her house, and then she did part-time work. She would do gardening. And so she would take me on her gardening jobs on the weekends and make me pull up big roots of trees, literally, to get out of my head, to get out of my pain, to get out of myself. So yeah, I absolutely, but maybe not the way you thought, maybe not the way anyone would think it would help.
Wow.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. It just
Wow.
makes me more attuned to how something can really affect you, uh, no matter where you are and what work you're doing and your emotion and how you're feeling.
Yeah, the thing is, I think the thing is that we forget a lot, especially with actors. And just so you know, you guys are all frozen for me on this end. Like I can't, I can hear you, but I can't see you move or anything. So I don't know if it's
Gotcha.
that way, but I'll keep going. So I think the thing we all need to realize with everybody is that we're more alike than we could possibly know. All of us. We're just humans. It doesn't matter if someone's super famous or not. It doesn't matter. Not that I was super famous, but I mean, even the people that there's no doubt I get fangirl moments like I did that one time, or definitely if I'm around people that are more awake spiritually than I am, that's a different thing. That really affects me as well. But we have a commonality and we don't know what's going on with that other person. And we project a lot of stuff on them, especially if they're on TV. You know, if they're on TV or on movies or they're singers, we have all these expectations of what we put on them. But really, they're just one simple individual. That's it. Just like you. They're just like you. They just happen to have a bunch of makeup on and lights in their face. It's not that different.
Wow. That is crazy. And you can hear us though, right, Hudson?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Okay. So, and I want to make clear what Hudson has just said, that we do put a different light on our loved ones from a series, from a movie, and as you know, I've worked in the Comic-Con circles for a long time, and I honestly think you're one of the first persons I really kind of fangirled over, and knowing who you were at that moment changed everything. And I think I do need to get, and so the same thing happened with Chris Evans. He was Captain America on the Avengers, and I met him, the cutest little man ever. If you guys have met him, Chris Evans is actually really tiny. But so a funny thing I had with Chris Evans is we both had pink phone cases. So he actually took my phone and took a selfie of him and another actress. I can't remember her name, but yeah, it was on my phone, and he was going to send it to someone, and he was looking at the contacts, and I was like, "Oh, boo, that's my phone." So, so I have a picture of Chris Evans and one of his actor friends. But I think we all should make a conscious effort to love our characters that we have fallen in love with, but also learn to love the actor who portrays them, because they do have so much to offer. And I will never stop saying this about Hudson. She gives so much, and she heals the part that we need to heal the most, and that's the inside. That's our energy. That's our being. Everything that we are needs to be healed, and that's what Hudson focuses on. Now, on that note, can you share how you became a yoga instructor? What was that whole process there like? You go from this fun, exciting, wild character who looks hard and painful to play, and yet deep inside you're like this cute little butterfly waiting to come out, and you do it so well. And so what was your experience becoming a yoga instructor? What took you that route?
Thanks for asking that. I definitely don't want people to think I'm a cute little butterfly. I am not that. I am both. I'm a work in process, probably until I am no longer embodied as well. So I have the reason I could play that character. I just want to say it just to be honest about myself. The reason I could play that character so well is because I have that within me, that rage, that fury, that ridiculous sense of humor. That character, the dark side of that character came very easily to me, because I had that darkness within me, and it is not all gone. And I do a lot of work to merge that with myself and merge it with my idea of my own light, or the universe's light as well. So I just want to make that clear. I am no angel at all. And I'm really dedicated to growing and to expanding. And I love the way you see me, and I wish it was true. So I just want to say that. And also, Lord, I got so off that when you called me a butterfly. It's so beautiful. It's really beautiful. I would just want to be really honest, and I don't want to be put on any kind of like super kind pedestal, because I want to be really genuine. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So how did I get into yoga? That goes back to Tina's question about how I was affected by doing Xena and Hercules. While I was on set, I met a man named Lance and Ava, his wife Ava, and they were stunt doubles for Hercules and Xena. And Lance was teaching me sword work, and that's how we became friends. And they invited my partner and I at the time to come visit them, and we stayed with them, and we became friends. And Lance has the biggest, Lance and Ava both have the biggest martial arts company in New Zealand. So what he would also do, he is very interested in any form of healing. So he had a warrior's workshop that he invited me to as his friend. And as I was saying, how ballsy the Kiwis are, like they just don't pull punches. They're just not precious. Like Americans, we don't see it, but when you're in a different culture and you see how other people are, you realize there's many ways of living, and they are just really genuine. So Lance was like, I was at the retreat, and Lance was like, oh, by the way, you're going to teach a yoga workshop. You're going to do yoga. You're going to teach yoga class outside on the grass. And I was like, I've never taught yoga in my entire life. He's like, yeah, you're gonna go do it. So that's how I first taught yoga, was when I was in New Zealand playing Callisto, going to his warrior's workshop just as a friend, you know, cutting wood with my hands, learning I could do something more than I thought I could do. He threw me into the fire. He threw me under the bus, and it's like, you can teach. You're a teacher, go teach. And that's how it started.
That is crazy, but that is so fascinating.
Yeah, so that's how it began. I took a lot of yoga classes. I took yoga classes in New York City with my first, with this man I was dating, and that was the first time I took classes. And in the classes, I really discovered there was something more than just moving your body. There was something deeper. When I came to LA, and I didn't have any money, and I would go to this really fancy yoga class at Yoga Works, and there was all these people in Santa Monica that had a lot of money. And while I couldn't necessarily relate or resonate with the women that would go there, more money than I've ever been around. After they would leave the class, the energy of that yoga class was undescribably amazing. So I knew that there was something beyond my judgmental mind that was being created in a class. And I still don't have words for it. And it's not, I love dancing as well, and I love running, but there's something about yoga when you connect to yourself and your breath, you're able to get out of your mind and expand more. And the best way I can say it is like when you were a little kid and you were outside playing and you got caught up with looking at ants. I think everyone can relate to that, and how fascinating it was, but you weren't in your mind. Like when you were a kid, you weren't dissecting everything in your mind. As adults, we use our minds to try to dissect everything. We judge everything, and we're like giant heads. We're no longer feeling. We're no longer present within ourselves. And yoga is one way. It's one doorway to open that up again.
Right. And that's actually amazing. I have done breath work workshops with a lot of amazing people, and I have learned to control so much of my emotion just by stepping back and taking deep breaths. And it's phenomenal that you do it. I've never done yoga because of my size. And do you want to know the sad thing? I tried to learn yoga, and I went to 3 different classes. The instructors were actually very like, oh, well, maybe you should try something. You know what I mean? And so that kind of hurt because I am a dancer. I can do the splits. I can do a lot of stuff that dancers can. I'm just a larger boy. And so I only got refused. Like I got rejected. And so that made me go, okay, well, maybe yoga's not for me. That's why I stick to a lot of dancing. So I still dance. I still teach high heels. I still teach, lots of different dance fitness platforms. But I am dying to attend one of your yoga retreats because you've basically been around the world, right? I know your main hub is Prague.
No, it's Wales and Prague. And not just Prague, Czech Republic, but I just want to respond to what you just said, if I can. So,
of course.
Kai, you're gorgeous in every effing way. Like you
It's
are
my lips, right?
gorgeous. Your lips, they don't hurt, but you are. You're like you're an amazingly beautiful human being, physically as well. And size should have absolutely nothing to do with yoga. So it pains me a little bit to hear that you felt that from those teachers. And I always say to people, especially after we do retreats, I'll say, go find a teacher, like wherever you live, go find a teacher. If you don't like the yoga, it's the teacher you're not resonating with. It's always the teacher. So, and it doesn't mean the teacher's wrong or bad. It just means you're not resonating with them. But if a teacher shames you, then for sure, that's not going to be, that's the antithesis of yoga. Like it should, anyone can do yoga. When I was in New York City, I would teach paraplegic people how to do yoga with their assistants because they would help move their bodies. Anyone can do yoga. Anyone. And no one should be shamed about. There's different classes though. I do want to say that, like beginner people should take beginners, because if they don't, they're going to feel really frustrated and most likely give up, right? So taking a beginner's class is being more gentle with yourself. Don't expect yourself to be able to do a bunch of things, which you never have to do for yoga, by the way. It's just mental gymnastics to try to stand on your head, but it's fun, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary. The reason that we do yoga is so we can love ourselves more. And I don't mean that in some mamsy-pamsy way. I mean that in a totality way, in an acceptance way, because each one of us are universes. We're unaware of how powerful we are. Okay. I know I can go. Please
No,
go.
thank you for clearing that up. And I actually I didn't leave bitter. I didn't leave with a heavy heart. I am okay when people tell me, oh, that's not your thing. I'll be like, I'm still going to try it, but and I was not, so I wasn't, I'm sure they were just warning me, saying, oh, this one is probably a little more difficult, stuff like that. So it wasn't meant to throw shade. It wasn't meant to do any of that. But so with all of your yoga experiences and even building up locations for them to go, can you tell us just a little bit about your Healing Heart Yoga Center? Now, is that yours, or do you just what is that all about?
So the Healing Heart, one of my very best friends, Anita Ellis, is the one that first started me on the path of doing yoga retreats. So she helped create that with me, and it's online. But the Healing Heart basically is about being able to heal all aspects of ourselves. And it's still, I have to say, I know you're such a positive human being, Kai. I just want to throw in sideways quickly, yoga's for every single body. Just nobody should tell someone they can't do yoga. Just not one person should ever feel like they can't do yoga. If you're breathing and you're alive, you can do yoga, because yoga just means union and connecting to yourself. So Healing Heart Yoga is all about finding ways to serve other people, because of my experience in life of having such a hard time and having moments in my life of not wanting to be alive. I really have an understanding and compassion for people struggling and what that's like. And one of the things I promised myself when I was going through these really incredibly painful self-hatred times was, if I ever get out of this, I want to help other people get out of it. Because I understand it. I know it because I've lived it, and I am lucky enough not to be dead from it. And not only not dead from it, I feel amazingly blessed on my path, like incredibly. And I also want to say at the same time, I do not expect anyone to have the same path as me. I do not expect anyone to wear a white dot on their head. This is what I like. So everyone has their own path, and it's all so deeply personal. And go towards the things you are attracted to that feel like it may help you. Whatever that is, go for that and trust that, because it's like swimming in the ocean. A fish, we can't swim in the same, it's not the same lane. You know, it's that vast and big for all of us, or a bird in the sky. So Healing Heart Yoga, we have a website of Hudson Leick, and that's connected to the Healing Heart as well. So we do yoga retreats in all over the world. And right now we're doing a yoga retreat online, the first time I've ever done it. We're doing it on April 16th through the 18th. And we're doing the first live workshop that I've ever done as well, diving into the hips for 2 hours. So hips are the biggest storage places for our emotions, like our anger, our hatred, our sadness, all the things we're told that we're not supposed to feel. And the thing is, when we don't allow ourselves to feel deeply, we hold it within our bodies. And a lot of times we become ill because of it. So I'm not talking about raging or having road rage or screaming at people by letting it out. I'm talking about going deeply into your own cells, your own muscles, and bringing breath in there to open up those spaces. Because if you think the emotion doesn't enter your body, you're wrong. It does. And then we hold on to it. So when we dive into our hips, for example, in that way, and we focus on it and we bring our breath to it, what happens in class a great deal is people will start crying. And a lot of times when I'm walking by, they'll grab my ankle and look up at me with tears in their face and go, I don't know why I'm crying. And I always say, like, it sounds sick, but it always makes me so happy when people are being able to cry, because they're healing themselves in that moment, and they are doing it. We are holding the space all together, but what they're unconscious of is the tools that they're using is healing themselves. And we all have that ability.
Wow. That is so insane. You know, I've always, so my family, and I know, you know, a lot of people from Utah. Utah's a very religious state. And so I raised my kids to be individuals. And it's funny that you say that, to chase your own happiness. Like, a lot of my family, and they're great people. They're great people. Like, my mom is still an LDS member. She's a wonderful woman. She gives and gives and loves and loves. So it's like you said, whatever's your happy, go get it.
Yeah.
Go get your happy. And so I love that you shared that, because I did the same thing with my kids. I allowed them to choose their own path, and they chose what made them happy. And you can't do any, you know, better than that, because if they're happy and they're living well, I mean, as long as you're not hurting people, like, people don't go hurt people. But if it's you're happy, you can't expect someone else to explain to you how to be happy their way. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, crying is actually huge. So I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of why I wanted to do yoga. I kind of wanted to cry, because I'm such a crybaby. So yoga was my excuse. Like, I could come out of yoga class and be like, oh, this is the first time I've cried in years. And everyone who knows me, they're going to be like, nah, bro, you just cried this morning. So I'm such a crybaby. But so when did you get connected, though, with, because I know you find because I meditate. I'm sure you know New Zealand's, you know, the Maori people, the Polynesian people, we're very rooted in Mother Earth. We love Mother Earth. We love our land. We love our oceans. So a lot of people are like, well, why don't you do this for meditation? And I'm like, well, I kind of already have this in my DNA. It's in my blood. You know, we weren't raised on religion. Our people weren't raised on religion. We were raised on the land and Mother Earth and different gods who have given different things and different stones and different crystals. So it was a lot easier for me to meditate. And so, but when you do yoga, do you think there's a different astral version of you that gets to actually go and learn different astral readings? Like, do you find that connection through yoga? Like, tell us about your whole astral journey, because that's very interesting, because you do astrological readings. You guys need to do it. So explain all of that.
First of all, I think that there is numerous amounts of ways to worship everything that is, and the religions that are popular right now they just happen to be the popular ones, but that doesn't mean that is the way for everyone. And even if let's use Christianity for example, even if you're a Christian, your connection to Jesus is going to be different than someone else's connection to Jesus. So it's never the same, even if we're using the same heading. So you talking about honor, like I love Islanders. I feel it just really touches my heart. That way of honoring the beloved, the all that is correct. There is no way that it's wrong to honor your idea of universal energy, of this world, of love, of nature, of self. The only way I would say, and I would say self with a capital S, not a small s, and that means everything included. So the air I'm breathing right now, you're breathing. The air that I'm breathing, the people that are listening to are breathing. Doesn't that make us all absolutely 100% connected, right? So it doesn't matter how we honor what we call it. So I love that. When you say astral, I don't actually know exactly what that means, but I have an idea. So I've always, I didn't have any sense of God or religion growing up, and through yoga, through bringing me physically through doing yoga a great deal, and being able to kind of resonate with what's going on with my friends in a very deep way, I realized I had some kind of something slightly different that I wasn't brought up with. You know, I think every human being has it, but a sixth sense. And we absolutely all have superhero skills. All of us do. And I use that on purpose because you're talking about the Comic-Con. But we do have amazing skills. They're just not developed. So, for example, in the States, we don't have a lot of belief in miracles, for example, so they don't exist. But if you go to third world countries, the miracles are happening. Now, miracles is a hard word because being alive is a miracle. We just don't see it because we're accustomed to it. So how did my journey get to that? You know, I got lucky enough I read a book called Autobiography of a Yogi while I was doing my first physical cleanse. And that probably really changed my life. I had a dream about an energy called Shiva, and that kind of woke me up to something I didn't understand, and I still don't understand. There's so much we don't understand that we arrogantly try to pretend like we know, which is bananas, because then it limits our being able to expand more. But we try to go through the world looking so good to each other and like, I got this all together. Really? Do you? Do you really? Could you explain to me how I got here then? Because I'd love to know. And have I lived before? I mean, our arrogance is hilarious, but it's basically based out of fear because we want love and approval from each other. We want to enjoy each other. I'm going off on so many different tangents, and it sounds like I've had caffeine and I have not. So I don't have an exact answer for that, but I can just tell you my path went from reading this book called Autobiography of a Yogi, made by this man named Paramahansa Yogananda, and a man named Vivekananda was the first Swami from India to come to America in the very late 1800s. And then the next man to come, who ended up living here, is named Paramahansa Yogananda. In fact, I have a picture of him, of course, right in front of me, which I did not prepare to do on purpose, but I will show you. Can you see me?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's Paramahansa Yogananda. And through reading his books, I was really attracted to his books. Someone once asked me in an acting class, I was doing a lot of yoga. I don't think I was teaching at that time. And someone said, do you want to go see a holy woman? And I was like, no, but the guy was really attractive. And I was like, but you're really attractive, so I'll definitely go see a holy woman. So I went, and then I met my teacher named Amachi, which just means divine mother. And through that practice, Yogananda is the same practice that he taught of meditation is what I do. And Amachi, I have been lucky and blessed enough to follow, because I'm a follower of her teachings and her being for 20 years. Probably a very bad follower, a very naughty follower, but nevertheless an amazingly grateful follower. And so that's my path of where my heart leads. I spend 3 months a year at her ashram in India, not this year, obviously. Now, again, my way is not at all how I ever expect anyone else's way to be, but that's the path that has fallen in front of me that I love. But I have to say, when I go to Utah, I don't know much about the Mormon religion, but I can feel the energy and the purity and the positive aspects of it. I can feel it very, very deeply. And that's not to say that there's not negative aspects. There's negative aspects because human beings, when we put our fingers in stuff, that's the duality. There is a duality. There is, and me too, right? So which wolf do we want to feed in that moment? And how can we have enough awareness where we don't get so prejudiced that we think our way is the only way and the right way? Because that's nonsense. That's just nonsense. There is no one only correct way. There's your way that works for you in this moment that is growing and shifting and changing constantly, right? As we grow and change. Yeah. So
that is so beautifully stated. No, please talk. We know we had a lot of messages and comments that are dying to know, how you are, what you're doing. And this is all beautiful because I think they've seen a lot. They've learned a lot. And I've actually learned a lot. Like I remember you talking about going on that journey, and you did that quite often. And I knew about your Wales and Prague, so I've kind of kept up, with you throughout the years since we met. So it's just very amazing to know everything that you have been through, and that it's yours. Like, I love that you allow that to be known, because a lot of people will be like, oh, well, I teach this way, so come follow me because it's for everyone. You don't do that. And that's very commendable, because a lot of people are very like, well, my Zumba's better than that Zumba guy, so come over and do my Zumba class. And, people get offended. People get mad when when they don't choose your way, and so I love that you just made it clear. Follow your path. Whatever makes you happy, follow it. It's like I said earlier, my mom is happy being a Mormon faith woman. She's phenomenal. Everyone loves her. She's a cultural icon, but she loves, she gives, she's kind. So if that makes her happy, that makes her a beautiful person. Awesome. It wasn't the path for me, and it wasn't the path for my kids. So, even DNA. But so tell us about your astrological readings, though. Like, how did that all come about?
I started studying astrological readings in high school with my best friend, Artemis Kloos, who is an amazing singer and I adore. And she's sort of a strange mix between a scientist and an artistic psychic. She's just the most amazing combination of human being. And that scientist aspect, back in the day, you couldn't just go on the computer and look up people's charts. So she would actually chart out people's charts. So she taught me about charts. And then what I started to realize, the more I started to realize about signs, I realized with my own intuition, I could actually read, because even when I do the astrological charts, a lot of people will say, well, that's not exactly me, because I try to do every week right now, one sun sign a week. And it's a blanket wash to do one sun sign, because we have a moon, we have a rising, we have a Mercury, like we have a tremendous amount that makes you. Your planets are in many different signs. Your sun sign may be in one. So one person who's a Taurus is going to be very different from another Taurus. That's just normal. But the blanket statement that I make when I do it is for fun and to introduce people to what I do. So what I realized, what I could do when I'm talking to one person, especially, which I love when I don't see them because it's the vibration of listening to their voice, is to be able to go into them energetically. That might sound a little scary, but to feel them energetically through that vibration of the voice, and also use my intuition of where they may be stuck, and mixing that sign, knowing where the positive qualities of that sign and the challenging aspects of that person's sign, where it may be they don't have enough light in that area, and where I can best find the words to bring more light in, where they have more room to take different action or see themselves in different ways that they haven't seen themselves before. But as soon as you touch on it, if I find the correct words, they start opening up more. So it's to benefit them to find more ways of supporting themselves with love, kindness, acceptance, and using their strengths in ways that will really make them want to create and go forward in their lives. And the thing is, I have a Pisces moon, so it means I'm a feeler. So I can feel you guys. Like I keep wanting to check in with Tina because I'm like, you and I are such talkers. How's Tina doing over there?
I literally texted her to do the next questions.
You okay?
Well, how do you? I know Kai says that you do a lot you use crystals a lot, and you create bracelets. And do you use this when you're resonating with someone through the astrological reading when you create bracelets for people, or do you just do a generic energy when you make those?
I love how you changed it to, I asked you how you were, and you put it right back on me. That was very sly, girl. But that's okay, because you're really good at your job.
Wait till you find out her sign.
What's that?
Wait till you find out her sign.
Scorpio?
Oh, I'm a Capricorn, so you know that's me.
Yeah. She's like, let's get right back to work. Let's get to work. Okay.
Yes.
But she's really quite sensitive and sweet. Her heart's really good. I can feel it from here. Sorry, Cappy. So how do I, can you re-ask the question for me, Tina, please?
Yes, I was saying how when Kai says that you create bracelets with crystals, and I know that's something he was interested in, and I was fascinated to learn that when you create something like that, are you resonating with the person that you're making it for, or is there just a general energy when you put something like that together?
So when I make bracelets in general, when I sit at my table and I make them, I chant mantra. So if I'm making them in general, I'll chant my own mantra that I've been given by my teacher to clear my mind and to clear my own energy. And I will also tend to watch spiritual talks at the same time. So I'll be chanting. If you see me and you're not used to it, you'd be like, she's bananas. So I'll be chanting, and I'll also be listening to anything from Sadhguru, Amma, Thich Nhat Hanh, anything that fascinates me, St. Francis, like anything that pulls my attention towards something spiritual and beyond ego. But if I'm making custom-made bracelets, which are actually my favorite thing to make, I will tune in with that person. So when people get custom-made bracelets, what they do is, if you go to my website, it has a couple things. So there's 3 jobs that I'm creating right now during this coronavirus: the online yoga, the bracelets, and the astrological reading of charts. So when I'm doing the bracelets, in particular, all three you can go to through hudsonleick.com. When I'm doing the custom made bracelets, there'll be a form to fill out of the stones you love, the colors you love, the colors that you don't like, the metals that you like, and what you want to get out of this bracelet. Now, it is a bracelet. You still have to do your work. Like, everyone has to do their work. Like, a little bauble of something, even though I believe crystals are amazingly helpful, is not enough. We have to do our yoga, do our Tai Chi, learn how to meditate. If that's interesting for you. If that's not interesting for you, go to a therapist that's brilliant. There's no one right way to do it, but expand, get past what you know. So regarding the bracelets, when I do the custom made bracelets, I'll read the list of what they're looking for and what they want. But here's the part that I love, is I connect energetically to that other person and try to feel into, as I'm creating the bracelet. Sometimes it'll take me 3 hours, like, no joke. I've made one bracelet in 3 hours, because I'll make it and I'll go, that's not right. And I'll take it apart again, because I really try to feel what comes through, not my ego of Hudson, what feels best that's going to serve that person. And if I get my fingers of Hudson stuck into it, then I look at it and I'm like, that's not right. I will start from scratch. And sometimes even the person, I'll never use the colors that they don't like, but sometimes I'll know that that color may not be their favorite color, but I feel like that stone is going to ground them more. So you're taking a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, and that makes sense. I'm dying to get one, so I will be in touch with you. But for those who are looking, a lot of you are commenting, asking for astral readings and bracelets. Go to hudsonleick.com, and if you're older like me, that's www.hudsonleick.com. Because my kids made fun of me because they're like, "Why are you telling everyone www?" I was like, "I don't know," because we were supposed to in the 90s and the. So, oh my God, your spirit and energy has been amazing. I've been loving hearing your journey. Like, we literally covered from modeling to your, when you were young and you didn't have a lot of, worshiping practice, and then now, you're doing your healing heart yoga center. You're doing astrological readings. You have these bracelets that you take the time to actually chant a mantra. And I don't know if you know, but Polynesians, we have our own version of mantras. Like, we have chants and everything. I don't know if you've heard Hawaiians chant or Maori people chant. Like, we have our own chants, and that's what connects us to who we believe are people and our roots. But we do have, so we don't have a lot of time, but we do have some fan questions. Are you cool to take some of the fan questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the first one is a Xena question from Camilla. And we got these all yesterday and this morning. She would like to know, how was the preparation for you to play Xena, the character? And she asks, because your body movement, facial expressions, and way of speaking were spot on.
I didn't prepare a lot because it happened really quickly when Lucy fell off the horse. My character was supposed to be killed and not come back. So that's what brought me back. And it was really Renee O'Connor who helped me a great deal, because when I'd have scenes with her, she'd be like, nope, she doesn't do it like this. She does it like this. And so she really guided me through it. That's where I got the most help from.
Wow. Bravo. I did not know that.
Yeah, I want to answer the fan questions, but I want to put one thing out so I don't forget, if I may, and we'll go right back to the fan questions before we end.
Okay.
There's someone that cut my hair yesterday that I want to give a shout out to, who was amazing. And his name is Lance Boozer. It's a real name, Lance Boozer. And if I can give you his phone number at the end of this, because check out this job that he did. It is
that is nice. Oh, that is nice.
It's really nice. And I can make it into a faux hawk. I just want to give him props because he's such a gorgeous, divine human being. And I want him to know that, and him to believe in himself. And I want people to reach out to him and know that he's really talented at what he does. And I want people to get their hair cut by him. So I would like to give you that number at the very end. His name's Lance Boozer in San Diego, California. So is that all right?
Perfect. We will.
At the end?
Yes, we will definitely get his number, and then we could post it everywhere in the comments and tags and everything.
Brilliant.
Yes, so we will definitely include him. And yes, if you have special shout outs, just yell them at us.
Thank you.
So the next question is a yoga question from Hayden. Will you be doing in-person yoga retreats again? And where will they happen and when?
Absolutely. I can't answer when right now because of the coronavirus. I'll definitely be doing them all over Czech Republic, possibly Austria, definitely in Wales, because that's one of my favorite places also to do that. I don't know about the States. I'm open to doing yoga retreats in the States, but right now I don't think it's a good idea to do them live, person to person. I just don't think that is safe, nor does it feel good. I want everyone to feel comfortable when they're in that place. So thank you for asking that question, though.
We have a Xena question from Santiago. He wants to know about your experience auditioning first for Callisto, and if it was hard for you to play the bad Callisto or the angel Callisto.
The audition was, I was very snarly, and I'm very surprised I got the job. We were in a very tight little room. I think all the producers were in the room. I've told this story before. And we were in the waiting room and everybody was really loud, and I was trying to study my script, and I was getting really annoyed because everybody was really loud because it was a very small room. Not the other actors. We were all shoved in, but the people, we were sort of in the business area. I don't know why. Like all the secretaries were around and they were yelling, and I think because they were nervous because all the producers and the writers were coming, and so they were all in the room, and I went in, and I was pretty insane at the time, and maybe someday I'll explain why, but not in this moment. And usually there's a power where you're, especially when you're trying to get a job, most normal human beings will be very gracious and try to impress the people who possibly would get them the job. I did not go that route. I felt entitled, and I also felt, and there is a truth to it, the exchange of, they're asking me who I am, who are they? So I have this row of people who are the powerhouse people. So I asked them to say their names to me. So they all literally were thrown back. They were like, because the way I did it probably was not the most gracious. So they all said their names to me. And I was wearing as many clothes as I possibly could get on because I knew the show, like people weren't wearing a lot of clothes. I was familiar with Hercules. Xena wasn't on air yet, I don't think. And I was like, so I was covered in like head to toe. And they asked me to throw things, and I did the job. And then I realized I wanted to go to New Zealand. And I thought New Zealand, this is how uneducated and ignorant I was, and probably still am. I thought New Zealand was like near Greenland, but I love traveling. And I was like, I want to go. I don't care. It's not in the States. I want to go. So the reason I got the job is because I was terrifying. They made fun of me the whole day. And finally, the head writer said, you know what, if we're so terrified of her and we're making fun of her, shouldn't she get the role? So they gave me the role. And Rob Tappert said, well, what if she eats the crew? And he goes, well, if she eats the crew, we just won't have her back. So I didn't eat the crew.
Done.
Yeah. Behind the stories, behind the scenes.
So this is a yoga question from Eric. What techniques can somebody suffering from anxiety and trauma engage with during yoga when they feel they are becoming triggered? Oh, wonderful question.
It's a beautiful question. When you're starting to feel triggered in a class, the best thing to do is, if you're able to, like, be aware if you're able and you feel even safe enough to stay. So check in with yourself first, because you're the most important person in that class. It never matters what's going on, what the teacher's doing or what other people are doing. So if you're starting to have an anxiety attack, check in with yourself, put your hand on your heart. You may want to let the teacher know what's happening with you, and then go into child's scrum. If you're able, if it feels safe to leave the class and go into your car and just take care of yourself, because there's no wrong way. There's only your way. But is regarding with yoga in particular in that class, go to child's pose, curl up, and make sure you're breathing. Have your ujjayi breath, most important, especially with your head on the ground. That's going to pull all the blood to the pineal gland, which is going to slow down your whole nervous system. And that's going to help you a lot. But you have to feel safe enough even to do that. So be true to yourself and see what you need in that moment. If being in that class is okay with you. After that, child's pose, deep breath.
Wow. That was wonderful advice. Both ways, stepping out, finding yourself, and child's pose. That's actually great advice. Go ahead, Tina.
Well, hey, Farah had a question about astral readings. She's asking about a particular reading, but I want to rephrase that and ask where they can see your readings that you say you've been doing them online like once a week. And is it possible that people can get specific readings with you, how they can do that? Is that possible? Something that you do like with the bracelets?
Thanks, Tina. Yes. So on my website, hudsonleick.com, there is a link to astrological readings. The readings that I do right now that we've put up on all the social media are one sun sign, basically one sun sign a week, just for fun, for people to enjoy watching and getting some kind of feeling of who I am and what I'm doing, and my playfulness too, because I
love those, by the way.
What's that?
I love those, by the way. I watch them religiously.
Woo, woo. Wait till we get to Libra and Capricorn, lady. Wait till we get to those. Yes. So how to get your own astrological reading is to go to hudsonleick.com, and there will be a link to astrological readings. There will be a calendar that comes out and a place to pay. So you will book yourself in, and then you leave a phone number and I will call you on that day and we will have the reading for an hour. Yeah. And there's something else we also recently did where we do couples. I started reading couples as well, which is really amazing because the idea, I started doing it with a couple first in Amsterdam, and the man didn't believe in astrology at all, which is always my favorite. And by the end of it, and English isn't their first language, at the end of it, she's laughing hysterically because I don't know them. And I know him so much by reading his chart that she's laughing because she can see how dumbstruck he is by a chart, how well known someone can read who you are by the simplicity of a chart. And so the benefit of reading couples is that we all love each other in different ways. So I may love you by giving you food, and that may not actually feel like love to you. Your way of feeling loved is by being cuddled and being held. And that might make me feel a bit uncomfortable. But if you want to be in partnership, really understanding that the way you feel loved is how you feel loved, and the way they feel loved is different. And how can we learn that and try to give that to each other when we're able? And the things that we're also uncomfortable with, like if someone's really uncomfortable emotionally and don't like to talk about emotions, but they feel really, really loved when you have great sex with them, right? They feel really loved. Not everyone can enjoy sex. That's not what I'm talking about, but they feel seen and held, and in a different way than the physicality of the sexuality. So there's so many different ways of understanding each other. And even when you're really, really close and in a marriage, we still miss each other because we're separate universes. So having someone come in and seeing that person and explaining it in language in a way that that person can understand and digest can really help that union.
Ooh, that's actually really true. Every single person is their own universe. And you're literally teaching them how the universes can connect without ruffling any feathers. I like that. I've never heard it like that.
Yeah,
Brava,
it's not just for romantic couples. It's also for like deep friendships, because my deepest friendships, sometimes we miss each other because I'm too close to it. It's not like I'm omnipotent. Like if it's in like this, I may miss it, even though I know their whole chart. it's me. But if I have someone outside of me come in and explain it to me, there's a lot more room that one can have.
Yes, no, I love that. I love that. So we actually have one more Xena question, and then we're good. But so this is from Laurel. She would like to know what your most favorite role was and your least favorite role as an actor. So that's just in general as an actor.
Okay, I didn't answer that other Callisto question either. I love I'm sorry about that. I loved playing Callisto. I much preferred playing Callisto than I did the Angel. I have no idea how to play someone who's pure, because I'm not. Like, no idea. So that didn't really work for me. But I loved the way they wrote it. The way they wrote it was stunning, because I do believe that we can come out of the darkest of the dark and become into our full lightness of being. I do believe that that's possible. For acting, what was my most favorite? I played a lot of sexual roles, which now I probably would never have done that with the knowledge that I have now, because I had a bit of trauma growing up, so I sexualized myself a lot, and that's how I realized I would get attention in roles. And I don't find that to be necessary. I don't think sexuality is bad in any way, but I would not, if I had a daughter, I would do the best I could to support her not sexualizing herself.
Right.
So the roles that I really loved, I have to say probably Callisto is my favorite role I've ever played. I love the idea of coming from the darkest place and moving into being forgiving self and being forgiven by others is the most healing journey all of us can go on. So that's my favorite. My least favorite is probably things like Melrose Place, or University Hospital, where
I remember that one.
Yeah, it was all, I mean, when I was doing University Hospital, it was my first spelling show, my first series regular, first chance of making tremendous amounts of money, and I was playing kind of like the Heather Locklear character, the really bitchy one who slept with everybody, and
right.
And I would leave set crying, being like so deeply depressed and not knowing why. I didn't have enough awareness at that time to know, and I continued doing that to myself. It didn't feel like Xena felt like I was at least a part of something that was bringing tremendous light to the world, like bringing something good. Melrose Place and University Hospital was like, it wasn't bad, but it felt like I was wasting time, and I was wasting other people's time. And I want to leave this planet, because I'm here and gone like everybody. I want to leave something, the imprint of my being. I would like to try to leave something beneficial, not just some self-obsessed girl making out, having sex with lots of people, being really bitchy to other people. That's nonsense. If it's used in a positive way, like the darkness of Callisto, that's awesome. It's not what Callisto did that I'm saying is so great. It's the whole program. And playing the dark role is necessary. You need that darkness to highlight the growth that we grow through, if that makes sense. But if it's just schlock of people gossiping, and no, no.
Right.
I'm not interested in
right.
Yeah.
No, that is so brilliantly answered. And I do remember you from the University Hospital. You were Tracy, I think, or you were Shelley. I can't remember honestly, but I think Tracy was University. But
yeah.
So this is my last question for you. Did you ever think when you auditioned for Callisto, it would become this iconic?
No, I was such a snob. I thought I had such negative judgment about Hercules. I thought it was terrible. I remember doing a movie and Hercules was playing, and I stopped to watch it on TV, and I was like, this is the worst show I've ever watched in my entire life. I was so judgmental, and I was like, oh my God. And so when I was related to Hercules, and I was friends with, I had spent some time with Alex Tidings in LA years ago, and she had done it. She had done Hercules, and I thought she was so badass. Like, she was just the coolest woman ever. So I was like, if she did Hercules, I can do this other spin-off show. And then yeah, so I did it, but I did make it a point that when I did Hercules, that I would not be like some beautiful, like I wouldn't try to be this really pretty creature. I remember spitting, and like I remember trying to be as ugly as I could on Hercules. Like, just like, I did not want to be some, in my judgment, like, it's totally my judgment and I own it, but I did not want to be a bimbo. I don't mind being like the biggest harpy, the biggest, ugliest creature in the world, but I did not want to be my judgment of like big boobed, help me, man. Like, no way. Not that.
Which we all know Callisto was not. But and you're right, the writing they did on Xena was phenomenal for you. It was so phenomenal. You were just hated and at the same time admired, but then like you just evolved into this amazing person who did find peace. So I thought it was amazing. We actually had someone message us. His name is Alonzo Labastos, I think. He said you had reached out to him or you said hi, on social media, and he's like loved it. But he was like, can you ask her to send me like a special hug? Can you send that little man a special hug?
Well, I don't know how to send it from here.
I know. I thought like, just like I don't know.
Alonzo, I can send you a whole heap of love. Let me see. Is that where the camera is? Can you see me?
Yes, there you are. Now you're looking at us. Yes.
So I send you a tremendous amount of love, but not as a character, not as an actress, not even just as a separate human being. But my hope for you is that you feel how worthy and amazing and incredible you are inside your being, because that's way better than anyone outside you. Okay.
Oh, that is so perfect. So, but yeah, we've now come to the end because we know you have a busy schedule. And again, thank you. It's been a long time since I've seen you, and I miss your hugs. Hopefully I'll see you soon. But is there anything else you'd like to mention? Projects coming up? We're going to get all the contact information and post it on the video as well. So is there anything else you'd like to tell all your fans and followers?
Just that the hip opener workshop is coming up April 1st, and the yoga retreat is going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 16th through the 18th. And you can sign up, especially for the people in Europe. The people in the States may not want to, because it's going to start at 5 a.m. our time in the West Coast time. The other thing that I want to say, the hip opener starts at 10 on the West Coast. But I think I would really like to leave with thanking Tina and you, Kai, both of you, for asking to come on this and being willing to have me graciously come on and asking these questions and to listen to me blather on and on. Both of you, I really appreciate you, and I hope this show goes amazingly for both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Okay.
Thank you very much. Well, sending everyone love. Thanks again to Hudson, and we will see you guys in the mix.